So a bunch of you are here from the unboxings and different videos like that I've posted in the past year on this YouTube channel, covering and documenting my first year actually attempting to breed crested geckos. Some of you may remember that I have a little bit of a history here, but nothing quite like this. In this video and the ones that are follow-ups to it are going to be kind of my summary of how things went in my first season breeding crested geckos. This one is going to start with my hopes, wants, dreams, and everything like that, and then show some hatchlings. And then the next video is going to show a different pair and its hatchlings. Those ones I'm super excited for you to see. But before we get into that, this video is this video. So let's talk about my hopes for this past season. It's no secret if you watched my videos that I put, looking at my geckos right now, a lot of money into buying geckos last fall. And I did that in the hopes that when the new year came around, I was going to be able to have several different pairings. I was going to be able to finally make axanthic crested geckos. I was going to finally be able to make axanthic lily whites. And that didn't happen. So I bought several different geckos. I bought 100% het male for axanthic. I bought 100% het male axanthic, het axanthic male that was also lily white, and I bought a 100% female. So the males, one was already pretty much to size and the other one was very close. Both of them got to size, but for whatever reason, this female, I got her at about 20-ish grams. She is still to this day sitting around 34 to 36 grams. And I've tried to feed insects. She eats food. I don't know. She's just growing very, very slowly. So unfortunately, I did not get to do that pairing. The first 100% het axanthic male that I bought came with a possible het axanthic female that is now up to size, and we'll tell more about that later. But I unfortunately just didn't get to make any axanthics in my first season, which I really hoped to do, and I spent a lot of money trying to do that. But it teaches you a valuable lesson of patience in this whole, I guess a lot of people call it the hobby. In this whole hobby is that you can spend all the money that you want, but if you don't buy animals that are already at breeding weight and age, you may not get the opportunity to pair them when you anticipate to. So that didn't get to happen. Now I also picked up 5 possible het axanthic lily whites that I was going to grow out, one of which is up to breeding weight. I knew going into it that none of those would make weight for this past season, but I do believe that 1, 2, possibly 3 of them, maybe even 4, are going to make weight for next season. So that's super exciting. One of them has already laid duds. 2 of them, I think, have turned out to be male, which I was hoping for females, but I think I have 2 females and 2 males from this group, so I don't have a pairing for the males. Regardless, don't want to get too far into the weeds. I knew that wasn't going to happen in this past season. But when I realized that the 100% het axanthic female I bought was not going to make weight for next season, I'm like, well, now what do I do? So I went and I figured, I have a lily white that's really awesome, and it's het for axanthic. Maybe I'll get a cappuccino and try and make some fraps and hope that that works out this season. So I found a near ready to breed cap that you saw the unboxing for. That one I hoped would make, 5 grams in the season potentially. That didn't end up happening either. So my hopes of making caps, fraps, lilies, normals, all from that pairing, all being possible het for axanthic, did not happen either. And if there's one thing I've learned in this season, it is patience. Because, like I said, can spend all the money in the world, but if you're not buying animals that are ready to breed already, there's no guarantees, and I found that out. So what I'm getting at here is that I only got to do 2 pairings last season, and I talked about both of those in previous videos. Both of them were with Atlas, a male that I bought that originally came from Brian at Altitude Exotics. He's an extreme Harlequin. So one was to my buddy Ryan's Phantom Red female, and the other is to a lily white, yellow, or creamsicle that I bought from Houston Gecko that came originally from Northern Gecko. That's the one we're going to talk about next video. And this time, we're going to talk about the hatchlings that came from the Red and the Extreme Atlas. So, first things first, the first egg that I had did not hatch because it was deformed and it just didn't make it out of the egg. That is another video. And it was a huge bummer because it meant that I was going to have to wait even longer for eggs to hatch. But fortunately, my buddy Ryan, who were just splitting eggs, he gets one from the clutch, I get one from the clutch. The clutch mate from that first one was fine and hatched out. And so now let's come on over here to this rack where I have all these geckos and all of the hatchlings from this pair, and just take a look at these geckos. So this one right here unfortunately had a bad shed that led to some missing toes, but I'm thinking that it's going to be okay. As you're seeing, it's walking up the edge, and this is one that appears to be that it's going to be red, because this one already looks much different than all of the others. But here it is. So you can see that it's a Harlequin. This little one does just fine and eats well, and you can and when it fires up, it gets a nice reddish tone to it already. Next up, the next one, which is honestly the biggest one of the bunch because this one eats crickets like no other. But we have another Harlequin. All of these have come out Harlequin. Get a closer look. You can see how this one is a bit lighter. I don't know, like maybe it has a little bit of red tones to it. Not really. Not able to walk up that plastic very well. So not a ton to say about this one. And honestly, a lot of these look very similar. This next one is probably my favorite from the group. I have 5 hatchlings from this pairing. This one looks like it could go extreme. You can see the nice white on its sides there in the porthole areas. And honestly, this one is just turning out really, really nice. You can see the pattern creeping up its sides. I think this one is going to be really nice. And the theme with these last 4 here is that none of them look red at all right now. They're all probably anywhere from 4 to 6 grams at tops. And the only one that even remotely looks red is this one that's still hanging out looking. But next we have this hatchling here, which, I'm not going to bother because it is starting its shed, as you can see on its nose. But similar thing going on with this one to the last one that we talked about. Not going to bother, then proceeds to bother. I was just trying to show it a little better. You can see the white on its sides. The pattern is creeping up its sides as well. It's got a little bit more pinning on this one than there is on the one that I was just talking about. And here we have the last hatchling from that pairing. You can see looks very similar to the others. There's really no hints of red in this one either. And you can see a little bit of the white on the sides. It's obviously a Harlequin. So pretty much gathered that we made all Harlequins from this pairing. I'll try and put some pictures up on screen, but let's go back to the other camera. So as you're seeing, we made all Harlequins from this pairing. Difficult to tell yet which ones are going to be red, if any of them are going to be. I think the first one that I showed is the only one that you really look at now and can go, okay, yeah, that's going to be red. But that is the results from the first of 2 pairings that I was able to do this past season. I hope you guys are enjoying this. I'm doing my best to become more consistent with this now that things have cooled off in my BMX life, but it's been really cool. The season didn't go exactly the way that I hoped it would, but that's expected. Things are never going to go exactly the way that you hope. It's taught me patience. It's also made my gecko collection even larger, because I bought geckos in hopes that I would be able to make something happen in the last season that didn't get to, but that makes this upcoming season all the more exciting. So stay tuned for more on that. And next week, we will be talking about and showing the hatchlings from the other pairing that I was able to make happen this past season. Hopefully you guys are enjoying. Stay tuned for more reptiles on this channel.